Mama, we're all going to hell. Mama, we're all going to welcome you to the John's Jam Sessions podcast. I'm your host, John. Here once again is Mike.
Hello, I am back.
How are you doing?
Yeah, good, thank you. Not too bad.
It's been a little chaotic. Just come back from Glasgow, but we're getting this episode out. I always kind of sell these episodes every week, but I think this is a really special one. This one.
Yeah,
So this is a continuation of an ongoing. I'm going to make this an ongoing series now. So we did our worst songs of our youth a little while back.
mm-hmm.
This time it's the best songs of our youth, and I'm going to explain a bit of my philosophy as we get into it. But I think this is a series that can kind of go on a little further from worst and best. I've got ideas for weirdest songs of our youth,
Yeah.
happiest songs, saddest songs.
Mm-hmm.
It can go on and on. So this is the best songs of our youth. For me, you know, what's the best songs of my youth? I'm not just going to turn around to you and say, just like Heaven by The Cure and Comfortably Numb, because are they, although they, you know, were discovered and listened to in my youth, I kind of wanted to I love a good analogy on this podcast, and a nice analogy I was thinking was, you know, you go up into your attic. You know, some people out there are freaks at the moment and getting all the Christmas deckies down. Too early, by the way. Wait till December. But you go up to the attic and you find like a big box just covered in dust in the back of the attic. And you're like, what's in this box? And you open it and it's all the treasures, all the sentimental treasures from your youth. You're like, I used to play with this toy all the time. Used to love this. And you go through the box and you have a lovely little reminisce. So I tried to pick out songs that have kind of been put away in the attic, so to speak. Songs that aren't on heavy rotation. I'm not listening to all the time, but you know, every now and again, they'll just flash up on my Spotify.
Yeah,
I'd be like, I used to love listening to this song. This is a great song. So that's my philosophy going into this. What was your mindset when curating your list?
So yeah, I think that's a really good way to sum it up. But what I'd also like to add to anyone listening, don't expect this to be a definitive list of the best songs of the 90s and the best songs of the 2000s. It's not that. What this is songs that we would listen to at the time in our teen years, and we loved them at the time. But we go back to now and we put these tracks on and we still think that's a damn good song, that. And we would revisit them and enjoy them now as we are as adults. So these are songs that have, for me, these are songs that have stood the test of time for me personally. There was a list of songs that we discussed on a previous episode which had aged terribly, and we go back to now and we think, how did I ever enjoy that? Well, this is the polar opposite to that. This is a list of songs that we did listen to back in the day that we still love now. So this isn't a hindsight thing. I'm not going to throw in songs like, you know, Radiohead songs and say, well, actually, yes, and I pretend I enjoyed them as a 15-year-old.
This is an honest look back, isn't it, into the past?
So that was my mindset going into it.
Yeah, very good. So we also have other people's submissions, but we'll get into them at the back of the list. So we're going to in the past we've done my list and your list. We're kind of intermingling them together. So we'll say who's picked these songs, and we'll get into why and all that. And what better way than to just get right into the list? Anyone listening, if you want to check out the songs before the rest of the episode, playlist will be in the description.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll start with my pick, eh?
Yeah.
And we've got Placebos from 2003, the song Special Needs.
Mm-hmm.
There were 3 Placebo songs that I would have on heavy rotation, and this was one of them. But this is like going back to, you know what I mean? Like my teens, you know what I mean? This was such a walking in the autumn and winter coded track for me.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as I play it, I just envision, you know, walking down to my mum's house,
mm-hmm.
you know, all the autumn leaves and the coldness and just kind of like the melancholy of the track, you know what I mean?
It does have that autumn walk vibe. I've got to admit it does, yeah.
I love its kind of like spacey vibes, you know, really like shoegazy, isn't it? Is what you'd call it. I like kind of the guitar when it kind of kicks in a little bit every now and again, like into the kind of chorusy moment. I remember I used to listen to Just 19 and Sucker's Dream. I used to walk and ponder about what my life be at 19. You know what I mean? Like I still had so much ahead of me. I was like, I wonder what it'd be like when I'm 19. It's just all around a great kind of, like, as I say, shoegazy, spacey track with some really lovely kind of like pianos. The lyrics, they pretty much just kind of loop themselves over and
Mm,
over. I can't particularly really make any sense of what this song's about.
mm.
I just remember like picking up that greatest hits CD, because that's where I first discovered this song off their best of CD, and just being like a song like, what special needs, what on earth's that about, and putting it on and just being a bit taken aback by it in
Yeah.
a good way, rather than like some of the stuff on the worst songs where you're like, what on earth could this song possibly be? Oh
No.
my god, this was like a delight. It was like, oh, is this going to be a bit of a joke? Is this going to be a bit tasteless and a bit stupid? But no, really good track.
Yeah.
What did you think of Placebo's Special
Special
Needs?
needs, yeah. So this is the first time I'd listened to this song. I'd never heard this song before. You put it on this playlist. To me, this song is a perfect example of the benefits of repeated listens. Because the first time I listened to it, I thought it was okay, but nothing really special. Nothing grabbed me on first listen. Like I didn't remember it that well after my first listen. But the more I went back to this track, and I've given it 3 or 4 listens, and the more it started opening itself up to me and revealing more of itself. And I love that in music. I love when a song grows on you
Yeah,
genuinely.
yeah,
I love the production. It's so clean and pristine. The effects on that cleanly strummed guitar in the intro are gorgeous. The shoegazy, like you said,
yeah.
it sort of swirls. It's a soundscape, isn't it? And it wraps the song up in this lovely, warm little blanket. When you're on them autumn walks, like you said, walks, it feels like this song is sort of a blanket on you. It's wrapping you up. It's keeping you warm.
Yeah, it's like transcendence in a way, isn't it? It really
Yeah,
does kind of like take it out the moment, and like
yeah.
you
It's
are just
comforting.
focused on that song.
It's
Yeah,
it's a comforting sound. The vocals sound great. There's just the right amount of reverb on them. I love the noisy and intense build in the middle of the track, while the piano and the sort of lush soundscape anchors the track down in the background. But there's this sort of this tension building up. I thought it was a really good song there, and I was impressed with this song. Yeah, much in the same way as the Placebo album you recommended to me a few months back. I appreciate when a song grows on me after multiple listens. That to me signifies that this is a truly great song and it's truly been crafted with care. So yeah, good song.
great success, great success. The placebo takeover is slowly happening, although we've yet to get into friends like these. So
Mm,
we'll see how that goes. But for me, and I love a cute little rating system on this show.
oh yeah,
This is coming out the attic. It's coming out the box. It's staying. It's going in the living room.
yeah.
This song is out the attic.
This
It's not staying in there.
this isn't going to get flogged at an auction, is it? This is going to
No.
be kept as a
Yeah.
as a nice treasure.
Lovely, lovely, lovely. So the next one we have is your pick, Green Day, Longview from 1994. So
Mhm.
I'll let you do your kind of
Yeah.
how did you get into this song? What's this song mean to you?
Oh God,
Just
Green Day.
defend its greatness.
Yeah, Green Day mean so much to me from a nostalgic point of view. They were my favourite band when I was 12, 13. To me, there were no other bands that existed. It was just Green Day, Green Day, Green Day. I absolutely loved them, as a kid. This was probably my favourite song off Dookie, which is Green Day's best album, hands down. I was obsessed with this song, absolutely loved it. The real showstopper on this track is Mike Dirnt's walking bass line. The whole track's built around it. I just love the way it keeps subtly changing with each verse. He keeps adding little flurries in, and sort of like
Hmm.
it's obviously the same walking scale, but just little sort of hammer-ons keep appearing and stuff. And I'm like, whoa, that's so tasty. I think listening as an adult now, I didn't really appreciate as a kid how much Mike Dirnt was the special sauce in Green Day. Like he is a great bassist. He was a secret
Yeah.
ingredient that set them apart from other pop punk bands at the time, in my opinion,
You,
bands like Blink 182 and Good
yeah.
Charlotte and
You,
stuff like
you
that.
find that a lot in free pieces, that there's always
Yeah,
that one strong force that's keeping it all together.
yeah,
Like that musician that's kind of like a step beyond the other two. Yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
Because he is, and I think he really did make them. I think when people look at Green Day and how big they became in comparison to a lot of the pop punk landfill that was going around at that time, I think Mike Dirnt's bass lines were a big reason for setting them apart and making them more credible than a
Hmm.
lot of the contemporaries, in the music community and stuff.
Yeah.
I love the lyrics on this song as well. It's basically from the perspective of a deadbeat sitting in his apartment all day, smoking weed, masturbating, flicking through the telly aimlessly. It's quite funny, but it's also sort of sad because you're thinking, oh, this, where's this character going in life? Like,
Yeah,
sort
yeah.
of stuff like that. And obviously, I love the way the chorus explodes in the din 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 din, in contrast to the sort of the chugging verses, the rolling toms in the verses. And my final note is best pop punk album ever.
Right, okay. So, yes, like, I remember your love for Green Day very
Mm.
well. And to be honest, I didn't stand for it, mate.
Yeah, no, I remember that well. Yeah.
Green Day were a band that I just didn't gel with throughout all of my youth. There's been a lot of bands that, like, I think when I was younger, I was a bit like snotty and a bit like, oh, I listen to Iron Maiden and Guns N' Roses.
Yeah, yeah,
I won't listen to that shit.
yeah, yeah,
But as I've got older, like as you just mentioned, Blink 182, I've really got into them a lot in my later years, which is it's strange in a way because they're a grow out of band more than a grow into band. But for me, it's like there's a lot of pick up, and I listen to songs that I used to really like get angry about and get, oh, I fucking hate this song. I listen to them now like full lot boys. Oh, what's the bloody
tree.
no what's the song that the biggest one of the biggest hits. Am I more than you bargained for? Yeah,
Sugar We're Going Down.
Yeah, Sugar We're Going Down. I fucking love that song. Every time it comes on, I love it, like the guitars and everything. So I think part of my youth, like we always have regrets in life, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
Part of my regrets in youth is the fact that I didn't take a lot of the contemporary music at the time. I didn't take it in, and that was the prime time. So like, go see these bands, witness their their times in their peak. So it is something that I've always been I've looked back on in reflection and I'm a bit like, I really should have just got a bit of a fucking grip of myself there. But I remember just the explosion of Green Day for American Idiot. I remember that, and it made my blood fucking boil. I used to get so mad about it. Like, as soon as American Idiot came on Kerrang, I'd be like, no, skip. Fuck this. I used to hate that Jesus of Siberian. I used to hate I used to despise Holiday. I used to absolutely hate the Boulevard of Broken Dreams. Just, I remember I did this thing called the Duke of Edinburgh Award. Have you ever heard of it?
Yeah.
The only reason I signed up to that was to meet girls because I went to an all boys school. And spoiler alert, it didn't really go anywhere for me. I remember, like, before the kind of like things had started, you go there like once a week, but before the things would start there, like, everyone would just be like congregated in this hall, and they had like a CD player, speakers and that, and they always used to play American Idiot.
Right.
And I used to be in the corner of that con room on my own, sulking, with me headphones in, with me CD Walkman, listening to Number of the Beast, going like, this is terrible. These people need to get a grip on themselves.
That's incredible.
So anyway, to kind of pull it back into the song itself. Well, reflection on Green Day. How do I feel about Green Day nowadays? It's still a loaded question for me. They're a band that I just don't get it. I've just never got it. I got the American Idiot album because I was like, right, I need to see what this is all about, because as I've got older and I've heard Holiday, creep up on the radio, American Idiot, I appreciate them a lot more, and I really love like kind of like the Bush era kind of like wartime music that was coming out from like pop punk and stuff. So I quite like the album, but for me they're just like a cheese and tomato pizza from Asda. You know what I mean? It's like I'm not going to be miserable eating this. I'm not going to have a good time, but like for me the beef and tomato pot noodle of the 2000s rock punk, pop punk. But this song itself, I don't really have any gripes with. Again, as a bassist, I do really appreciate. I really like that walking. I think for what it does and what it needs to be, it's perfectly fine. You know what I mean? I have listened to the Dookie album, not in recent years, but well back.
Right.
I remember a girlfriend at the time played it while we had like a big kiss. Remember that when you just do like kisses for hours?
Yeah.
Like you had sex
with Green Day's Dookie.
So yeah, I can say I've had a make-out session to Green Day's Dookie, but I don't really. I was more focused on like having a touch of the boobs and stuff, to be honest.
Yeah.
So for me, it's okay. I'm not going to hold it against you.
Yeah.
For me, just typical Green Day number of their kind of earlier era. It's okay. That's all I've got to say about it.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, like I said, it's not something that I would go back to regularly now. I don't put it on in my playlists that I listen to sort of on a regular rotation or anything, but it's probably I had to pick a Green Day song for this list. I just had to because they were my favourite band as a kid, and I just thought this was the one that I thought there's more to say about this song than there is about
Yeah.
some of the other tracks in their back catalogue. So I'm happy with the pick, and I'm happy you did have some appreciation for it, from a musical standpoint.
Yeah. So you've had a look. You've got it out the box. You're bringing it downstairs with you, or you're just going to put it back in the box.
Personally, for sentimental reasons, I am going to keep it. I am going to sort of keep it on display as a sort of a sentimental piece, definitely.
Yeah. Right. Back onto my picks now. I really wanted to throw some wild cards at you with this list. We've got Erasure. A Little Respect from 1988. This song, it's just so lovely and cute. This song is adorable as hell. The cute piano, the dun 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 dun, the amazing chorus. Now there's a slight bit of cheating here. I've got to admit, slight bit of cheating in this number. I'm afraid it does breach the age. We kind of had a bit of an age limit set, didn't we? To kind of like 2008, 2009. This does breach it ever so slightly, but I really just had to kind of bring this up and talk about this. I've obviously known about the song for years and years, but the real peak of its rotation and listening came from about 2011 when I used to go out pretty much every weekend to the Crazy House and to Revs on Wednesdays. And me and an old friend who sadly don't really talk to anymore. We've kind of grown apart. We used to just after getting kicked out the Crazy House at 4 or 5 in the morning. Used to just walk down that bold street, just singing top of their lungs "I'm so in love with you," just singing it together, serenading it to everyone down the street. Everyone would be like, "Oh, fuck off, shut up." It was the closing time anthem as we head home. I think it's just such a lovely song with a strong fond memories attached to it. And one thing I'd like to add as well from something a few weeks ago is this is the type of music that needs to be getting played. Any DJs out there, listen up because you need to fucking hear this. This is the song that you need to play at functions, at weddings, birthdays, anniversaries. You need to stop playing Rolling, and you need to stop playing Valerie from the Amy Winehouse cover, and you need to start putting this on because I've had enough of hearing all this gack when I go to functions.
I agree.
This song will get everyone on the dance. I guarantee you this will fill the dance floor, this song.
Everyone will sing along to this, won't they?
Yeah.
I think that this might be the best song ever, objectively. Yeah, I'm so happy you picked this song because I absolutely love it. It's one of my favourite pop songs of all time. I think every time that chorus kicks in, I just can't help but belt it out, just proper, it's a timeless classic, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's an 80s synth pop gold standard. It's just got this pulsing 4-to-the-floor beat, but gradually as the song progresses, it just builds on top of this beat. And by the end of the song, there's just synths and, guitar and piano keys and everything just flying around everywhere, layers upon layers on top. By the end, it's just this roaring dance floor anthem. I can't say enough good things about this song. Anyone listening to this podcast will have probably heard this song. We're not sort of
yeah. And even if you think it's sitting there going, "I've never heard of this," once you play it and you hear that chorus, "I'm so in love with you,"
you will be like,
you'll be like, "Oh yeah, I know this one.
I have heard it." Yeah. Everyone in the world knows it, heard it. I have never heard anyone say that they don't like this song. And if someone said to me that they don't like this song, I would question everything about them as a person.
Yeah.
It's great.
So,
it's fantastic.
Straight out of the attic with that track. Yeah. Absolute jam. It's something as you said, one of the best songs ever. I think there are a definitive list of this is probably one of the best songs ever. And to be honest, they are kind of pop songs, really.
No, yeah, definitely. Because like you said, it's
universally there was nothing wrong with this song.
Yeah.
It ticks every box from
anyone from the music snob to the absolute pleb who only listens to the top 40 can love this song. It crosses it ticks every box in the Venn diagram, doesn't it? It basically, it doesn't matter what genre of music you listen to, whether you're a metalhead, whether you're a hip hop fan, whether you're, like I said, top 40 radio, dance music or whatever. It's universal, isn't it? It's fantastic.
Yeah, 10 out of 10. Then we get into another one of your picks. We've got The Darkness, Black Shook, from 2003. Do you want to give us your explanation?
So I picked this album straight out because there were two bands that came straight to mind when I thought about music that I loved in my youth, and they were Green Day and The Darkness. The reason for that is this album, Darkness debut album, Permission to Land, was the first album that I ever purchased myself with my own pocket money. What I went out and bought. Don't know how I got past the parental advisory sticker guidelines.
You struggled with that, didn't you? Trying
A
to
few
get
years later,
the Pick of Destiny by Tenacious D.
Funnily enough, that was several years later as well. But so I went out, I bought this album because I loved the singles that I've heard. Obviously, Believe in a Thing Called Love and Growing on Me. Thought, oh, I'll pick this album up. This was the first track on the album, Black Shuck. And when I put it on, it blew me away. I was like, wow, this song rocks like so hard. Like even now to this day, it makes me want to just drive a pickup truck really fast. it's just
wave a Trump flag in the air.
Yeah. It's just got this it's got this AC/DC-esque snarl and swagger to it. The Justin vocally is on top form. His vocals are an acquired taste, but I think his theatrical style and his campiness, they really suit this style of rock for me. And a lot of the bands that went down the sort of AC/DC tribute band-esque route, it didn't work because they had such dime a dozen vocalists.
Yeah.
Whereas the Darkness stood out because of Justin Hawkins was just so over the top, and he was just so like.
There was fun, wasn't there? There was fun to it. Whereas, like, there was some bands that really. There's some bands to this day that kind of try and harness that classic rock sound and feeling. I could name like a couple. You know what I mean? Like that Airborne, for example.
Yeah.
Massive whackings. But I think the difference with the Darkness is like it's just more fun. It's more light-hearted fun.
Yeah,
isn't
definitely. Yeah, I mean, you just have to look at the outfits they were wearing and stuff.
Yeah.
It was very much a sort of cheeky, tongue-in-cheek thing about, it was a kind of a half parody of the glam rock era, wasn't it?
See, this is what I'm gonna get into when it's my my notes.
They very much knew what they were doing. They were an entertaining band, and like I said, I listened back to this track, and I just do. I think it rocks hard. I think it's a bit of a face melter from the early 2000s of a hard rock song. So I'll let you get into your notes now.
So first of all, I remember the explosion of the Darkness quite clearly. I remembered it really well. I remember them just blowing up like almost from out of nowhere. I Believe in a Thing Called Love. That music video on Kerrang. We bring up Kerrang so much, but it really was integral to our kind of like music exposure in our youth. I can't say I was the biggest fan though. Although I did enjoy Growing on Me and Love Is Only a Feeling, I was always torn on how to approach this band, similar to what we've just been talking about, actually.
Yeah, I get it.
Because they just gave me big parody vibes, like a bit like Tenacious D in a way. Yeah. But I didn't find them as funny, so I was a bit like conflicted on the fence. I felt in a way that like were they kind of mocking rock music? Was it a bit of a mockery? Or like nowadays I'm like it was obviously a homage, wasn't it? It was obviously like a glam rock revival. My poor mind was confused anyway. I was Darkness curious. Anyway, the modern day, I recently picked this record up myself and had a first full listen, and I quite enjoyed it, but this track didn't really spark a light for me. The AC/DC influences, as you said, strong as hell. This is ripped straight off this sounds just like an older AC/DC track. Dirty Deeds, Thunder, Cheap, Sin City, like but it's contrasted with Justin's high wailing vocals, so it's a weird contrast. I think he's trying to fit too many words in too fast on this song. Where I prefer it when he's like he does it a bit on I Believe in a Big Girl Love. But like I like it when he spreads them out a bit more, like on Growing on Me. Do you hear what it said? So for me, another thing I'd like to mention is it sounds like he's saying like back shots. Back shots. I don't know if that was a phrase back then, but I don't know if it was intentional. Decent track for me. Decent track. As I say, as a kid, I was always a bit when I was younger. I was very heavily influenced off the stuff my dad was exposing me to. So it was like Pink Floyd, Iron Maiden, Guns N' Roses, and I really latched onto them bands like really strongly. So like I was very judgmental of new music at the time, because I was like, everyone was jumping on it, everyone was loving it, and I was kind of like, no, guys, if you think that's good, listen to Iron Maiden. And then they'd be like, oh, fuck off with your old crusty band Iron Maiden. No one listens to them anymore. They were only like approaching 40 at the time.
Don't be amazing.
Well, that was it. That was like the attitude, wasn't it? You know what I mean? Like I was trying to be like, no, listen, if you think if you think bloody loves Only a Feeling's good, listen to like November Rain. It'll melt your head. Oh no, not that old like fucking granddad
It's
shit.
just
Fuck
funny.
off.
It's just funny to think that you were a musical elitist at the age of 13.
I know. And it's funny because I've completely shifted.
Yeah.
I kind of really don't like a music elitism
No.
these days. I really get frustrated and people are like,
Yeah.
well, if you don't listen to Aphex Twin, then
Yeah.
I don't think it's like, oh, shut up. You know what I
If
mean?
someone's saying to you, "Oh, you think Iron Maiden is good? Well, have you ever checked out the Velvet Underground?"
For me, I'd keep this in the attic as a little gem from the time. What about you? Are you bringing it down?
I am again. It's got sentimental value for me, and to be honest, I still do. I jam this song when it comes on. I love it, but for sentimental reasons, it's got a whole special place there on the mantelpiece for me.
Okay, this one I'm looking forward to. I've not really heard your full reaction on this one. I am interested as hell. We've got from the Jesus Christ Superstar musical, "Heaven on Their Minds" from 1970. Right.
By Murray Head.
But well, it's from Andrew Lloyd Webber and
Yeah,
Tim
yeah.
Rice. But the problem is, and I tried to find the exact version that I used to listen to, but there's so on Spotify, there's so many different recordings of this goddamn album. It was obviously it was a stage musical. It got turned into a motion picture film. The film is what I really latched onto as a
Yeah.
kid. But anyway, this is my origin story, basically. The first two albums of music I ever latched onto were Pink Floyd's The Wall and Jesus Christ Superstar. Make of that what you will. I had a cassette of this and I would wear it out on the Walkman tape player thing I had. This is 10-year-old. This is like,
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is well far back, this, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
The musical is all right, but the parts that always stood out to me were the songs with Judas. I think he's a really interesting take on the fictional character. Judas speaks out to me as the voices of like disillusioned and critics from kind of like the Christian faith, like the lines, it was beautiful, but now it's sour. They think they found the new Messiah and they'll hurt you when they think you've lied. I think it's fantastic. I think this is a great kind of like musical monologue from Judas. If you don't quite understand the context from this is early on in the musical, and this is basically Judas, and he's basically saying that he thinks Jesus is going too far.
Mm-hmm.
He's not into the supernatural side of all the stuff he's going on about. He's not into the whole I'm the son of God and stuff. He's more of like a peace protester.
Yeah.
And he thinks it's all getting a bit over the top, and he's worried because obviously the Romans and the elites are looking down on this and going, oh, this could be trouble. It's a fantastic musical. If anyone's never heard it, Jesus Christ Superstar, highly recommend. But what do you think of this song?
So, right, I have to say that I don't have the context, but I listened to this without any context whatsoever. It's because I haven't seen the film.
So it's a standalone song.
Yeah, for clarity, I hate musicals. Like, there isn't a single
I'm
one.
not a big fan of it.
Yeah,
This one stands out for me.
yeah, I mean, I need to clarify that right off the bat. Like, it's just a genre that I avoid entirely. This song definitely sounds like it does its job. It fits a musical. It's very theatrical, very bombastic. I can picture a load of people on stage in mad outfits jumping and dancing around, doing flips and cartwheels or whatever. It stinks of overstimulation. It's like it's a musical. I can imagine sitting there and watching this song being performed.
I have.
Yeah. That's it. It definitely does its job, but it's just not for me because of the musical. The thing bias I have against musicals in general means that unfortunately I've not got loads to say about this song because it's not me coded in any way, shape or form. I did get a little giggle out of the thought of you jamming this as a kid.
Oh God, I know it. I know it word for word. Like, honest to God, like
yeah. I mean, like I said, it's one of them, isn't it? Can't say that this is bad for what it is because it's not. It's very clearly. If I didn't know this song was from a musical and someone just played it to me, I'd say that's from a musical, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's very sort of it's very appropriate for what
Very
it's trying to
theatrical,
do.
isn't
Yeah. So I can't go in hard on it or anything. I just wouldn't choose to listen to it. And I wouldn't choose to watch a musical.
I just love it at the end where he's just getting on. He gets more and more unhinged. And he's like, Jesus.
Yeah. That's what I mean. It's
screaming and wailing. It's so funny.
Well, that's what I mean, though. It sounds like it's being acted out. It sounds like it doesn't.
Starting to believe.
I I picture them doing the hand movements and the sort of, singing it to
Yeah.
singing it to the ceiling and all that sort of stuff. Like, I can picture that. In which case, I've got to say that it does its job, because it's a song that's being acted out.
Jesus and the disciples are like in one side of the stage, like, and he's just there,
Yeah,
and then he's there, like in the corner, going, "I'm starting to believe
yeah.
all the things."
Yeah. Well, it is, and again, when I listened to it, I had a very vivid image of what was going on the stage while I was listening to it. So
It
fair
certainly
enough,
does its job in that aspect, doesn't it?
does definitely, yeah.
I'll keep this one in the attic because I think it, you know what I mean? It's not something that it's like, oh, I really want to listen to the Jesus Christ
Yeah,
Superstar musical, but for me, I want to keep it safe. I want to keep it protected.
yeah,
I'm a big fan of it.
yeah,
Back onto your picks now, and we're wildly shifting gear once again, and
yeah,
we're going into Deftones,
yeah.
Cherry Waves from 2006.
Yeah.
Explain away.
Okay, a band that I discovered while I was in the midst of my new metal phase as a teenager, when I was big into the
This has also got another funny story behind it. This band, doesn't it, between me and you?
Yes, I don't know. I don't know if it's appropriate to bring up on the podcast, but
Basically,
Well,
I just kind of like immediately wrote this band off without really ever listening to
you
them,
didn't ever listen to
just
them.
because you glazed them so much, and like I kind of wanted to just counteract it.
Yeah.
So I'd
I
kind of
always,
be like,
I always knew that was going on in the background. I was like, he's never listened to this band, but I'll just let him have his fun and all that. So we were both deep in the midst of our new metal fandom at this point. Horn, Disturbed. I went a bit further into the new metal rabbit hole and picked up bands like Static X and Cold Chamber, God forbid. Ugh.
monkey.
Yeah, but Deftones were another band that I picked up. This is probably, along with System of a Down, Deftones are probably the only band from that period of my musical fandom that I look back on this fondly. I've grown to love Deftones more as I've got older, especially albums like this one, Saturday Night Riffs, which was very, very much the band breaking clear of the new metal shackles, and it's venturing into more experimental territory, incorporating dream pop elements and shoegaze into the sound. Massive, lavish walls of sound all over this song. The guitars are layered with such effects, it gives you that shoegazy swirling feeling. So yeah, I think this is a band and this is an album that's sort of aged like a fine wine for me. And I know you're getting more, and you've dipped your toes more into Deftones back catalogue.
Yeah.
But I didn't think that you would have heard anything from this album, so I thought I'll throw in this song and just see what he thinks. Cherry Waves. It's a really warm and welcoming sound as far as metal goes. It doesn't really sound like you're listening to metal, does it? It sounds like you're listening to sort of dream pop.
Yeah. It's
rock.
still got all them Deftones trappings, hasn't it? It's still got all them Deftones
Yeah.
parts in them. You're right. I hadn't heard this song before, although as soon as it came on and that
Yeah.
I was like, I've heard that from somewhere.
Yeah.
And it's currently. Well, I don't know fast trends come and go, don't they? I know it's been sampled a lot on like TikTok.
Right, okay. Oh.
And I've seen a lot of TikToks with that sound. I always when I heard it, because that sounds like something off Deftones. That, and then when I heard it, it clicked. I was like, yeah, I know this is where it's from. You can watch out.
Yeah.
I haven't got loads to say about it. I just think it's a really solid Deftones track.
Yeah.
This is a band that I am kind of I've been dipping my toes in and I'm finding. But for me, they're quite, at the moment anyway, they're very like cherry picky. It's like, oh, I absolutely love this song. I absolutely love this song. I absolutely love this song. All the rest you can go in the bin. Like, I'm not super fussed on you or you. Shut Up and Drive is one of my absolute favourites. Love that song to death.
It's great, isn't it?
And Change, obviously, and like a few others. And as I heard this one, and it is, you say again with that kind of shoegazy, bringing in that dream pop vibes and stuff.
Yeah,
I really like it. I didn't think they were doing this early on. I thought this would have been a lot more of a more modern Deftones track, and it's like you said, Deftones have kind of like escaped they kind of broke the glass ceiling of new metal, because they're probably one of the most respected bands from that genre, probably outside of System of a Down.
I'd say definitely.
I know people who absolutely despise new metal and all the new metal bands really love this band.
Yeah,
There's a lot of people in the Cure circles
yeah.
that really praise and love this band. So
Hmm.
yeah, I think solid pick. That definitely have Out of the Attic.
Yeah, like I
This
said,
this it feels
mhm.
still feels modern. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
it does. This was ahead of its time. This album, like I said, metal incorporating shoegaze elements wasn't something that came in until the mid 2010s, really, and sort of in the mainstream anyway. And Deftones with Saturday Night Wrist, 2006 it was. I think they were definitely ahead of the curve. I'd keep this song in my regular rotation playlists now. I think it's fantastic. I like it more now than I did when I was a kid, and I loved it as a kid. So yeah, for me, this is very much being held close to me.
Like a dear, lovely baby. Next, we have one of my picks Iron Maiden, The Wicker Man from 2000. Maiden weren't escaping this list. I believe this. One of my first CD, like you said, with the Permission to Land, one of the first CDs I personally owned was the Rock in Rio live album, about
Mm,
2001. And this song to me just went the fuck off. I
yeah,
thought it was a belter, and I still do now. Probably the last Maiden track that sounds like it could belong on the pre-90s albums.
yeah,
I also had the Rock in Rio DVD, and I'd watch like Bruce Dickinson like sprinting, doing all his like parkour and doing leaps
yeah.
and a bit. Which you look back on, it's like you don't think like he was doing like somersaults and like going down like a zip wire and all that. And you're like, what's this about? Like, you know what I mean? Like he's just that bored during the instrumental bits that he's just got to do a bit of a run round, get his exercise in. But
Yeah.
I used to watch that and like I was like, oh my god, I'd be like running up and down. Like imitating it a bit, like like pretending to hold the microphone in my mouth, like running from one side of the room to the other, like
Brilliant.
your time will come.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
Uh, like for me, it really was like you said with the Darkness track, you put it on and you're like, oh, this is rock and roll, man. Like
Mm,
that was this for me. Like I'd listen to this and I'd be like nodding my head, I'd be giving it the old horns and that, I'd be like, yeah, rock and roll, man.
yeah,
The devil, yeah,
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
loving it. This song for me, it was just an absolute belter, and because
Mm,
it was still quite new at the time, it felt very
yeah.
kind of like energizing to be into. So
Mm.
your thoughts on The Wicker Man?
Yes, I got into Iron Maiden a little bit later than you, so I abstained from picking them for this list because I thought it'd be cheating a little bit. So I left Maiden off this list. But yeah, what a choice this is! Like this song is great, man. It's a very simple and straightforward song as far as heavy metal goes. Instrumentally, there's nothing special going on really, but just hits everything you want heavy metal song. It does everything you want a heavy metal song to do, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's like up there with like Run to the Hills, Number of
Yeah,
the Week. That's what I mean when I say this is one of the last tracks they did
yeah,
before they
yeah, yeah.
started going down that avenue of like long
Yeah,
proggy, like
stories and stuff.
yeah,
Yeah, this is very much a. This is just a 4 minute, just like a barn burner of a heavy metal song, isn't it? It's got
yeah.
Steve's chunky bass holding the track down, the dual guitar solos from Dave and Adrian,
Yeah.
the wild sound,
Yeah.
and then you've got Bruce's vocals, which at this point in his career he was still on absolute top form, wasn't he? Siren-esque sound. It's a triumphant return to the band for Bruce, as this album as a whole was. So what a way to open Brave New World. I love this song. Amazing live. I've seen it several times live. It goes off every time. It's a modern metal classic.
Yeah, out of the attic, on the full display, up the irons, as they say.
Yeah, definitely.
I feel like I've been quite critical of your list. I think the stuff that I really latched onto comes later on. So we've got Gorillas, Clint Eastwood from 2001. Tell us about the Gorillas and their lovely cartoon heads.
I was worried about picking this song for you because it's got rapping in it.
Oh, there
And
you
I
go.
know
Here's the meme.
I know your opinions on rapping. I don't know. This song was one of them songs that I heard when I was a kid before I was even properly into music at all. It came out in 2001. I was 9 in 2001. So at that point, I was just listening to Now CDs and whatever my mum and dad were. Occasionally, I'd go round to my mate's house who had cable. Ooh, we
Oh, remember the kids who had cable?
yeah. And we had the music channels on. This came on, and I was just fascinated by it. I was like, oh my god, like it's a cartoon video. Chorus always stuck with me, and even years later, when I'd sort of forgotten about this song, it was always sort of like it stayed with me. It was just the melody in the chorus, feeling glad I got sunshine in a bag. It just gets stuck in my head for hours, even to this day. Like the little circus synth sounds just towards the end of the verses, the it leads into the chorus. They're so cute and tiny and fluffy. I just want to hug them. But it reminds me of like Ghost Town by the Specials, you know, and
Yeah,
Barb's like
it
that.
does.
It's got that spaghetti western sounding instrumental, hasn't it?
Yeah.
I love the rap, the flow of the rapping as well. So much personality and character in it. But I don't really know who Del the Funky Homo Sapien is. I don't know who that is. I've never heard anything else he's ever done.
No.
I don't know. He's just sort of spawned into the Gorillas for this song and then dipped.
Yeah.
I don't know. I do. I love this song. I think it's cute as hell. Cute is what I would describe this
It,
song as.
it is very cute coded, but Gorillas. How do I feel about Gorillas?
I'm very mixed on Gorillas as
Yeah,
a whole. I think they've done some awful, awful stuff, but
I just don't really know. For me, they as you just said, then they're a huge hit and miss band
yeah.
with more miss than hit. To be honest, I might save my favourite track from the Grills for another episode idea they've got.
Yeah.
I can confirm I've never cared for this song at all.
Yeah.
I like it's not the rapping. It's not the rapping. Before you start, it's how slow it is. I'm sure. Did they do a faster version of this song or like a
It,
remix or something?
it
Because
was there was a
I
remix,
remember
yeah.
like I'm happy, I'm feeling sad, got sunshine.
But
But
there is a
it's
remix, yeah, there
I
is.
hate that bum 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 bum
Oh,
bum
I
bum
like it.
bum bum. I'm
Like I
happy,
said,
feeling sad, got
it's like
sunshine.
spaghetti western. I don't know.
I,
I like it.
I get its vibes, but for me, it's like, oh, this is a slog. And funnily enough, I remember one of the bands I was in, Safari Inc. We started jamming this once, and they were all buzzing like, "Oh God, yeah, clearly let's start back jamming it." And like, have you ever jammed? Have you ever done much jamming?
Not for a while, but I have. I have back in the day, but
There's a thing with jamming where it gets to a point where it's like, right, okay, I think we need to end this jam session now and end this what we're working on, and maybe let's start writing or working
yeah,
on something. But no one else in the band wants to do that. They want to just keep playing and playing and playing. And you keep like giving these big like these tells, these big boom, to end it. These big like, and you're looking at them like
yeah.
holding your bass up neck high, ready for the big. All right, end it now. And you go boom, and they just get dum 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 dum. Oh fucking hell! You keep playing. I remember we jammed this song for it. It felt like it must have been 30 minutes. We just jammed that boom 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 boom. I was so fed up at the end being a bassist. I was actually like sat back on my chair, just tapping the notes while on my phone, just like on the fretboard, tapping the boom boom boom. I was like, lads, can we please like stop jamming this song? It's driving me mad. So,
That's the
so
problem with being a bassist, isn't it? You are expected to just anchor the song down, and that is it.
yeah, well, it was one of them at the beginning of the jam. Because it was a jam, we weren't covering the song. Like I was like, playing with all the space that was in between. But as it just went on and on, I was like, oh, I'm so done with this chat. So maybe there's a bit of trauma behind this chat, but I never really remember latching onto it much as a kid either.
Yeah,
I think it was the stuff that was coming out a bit later from this band that had started kind of getting my attention a little bit. The classic, like the kind of Demon Days era
yeah.
kind of stuff. So for me, it can stay in the attic. Again, with Gorillaz, there is a lot of nostalgia around the whole, like, I do, like you, I remember the fascination around of like,
Yeah.
oh, what's this? This is strange, isn't it? Because
Mm.
they're a band, but like they're also like kind of like this fictional
Yeah.
cartoon, and there's like all this lore, and like I think the lore is like so vast
Yeah,
and
yeah.
wide now. I think they've done well too much. Like, like
Mm.
there seems to be an album every bloody year from the
Yeah.
sounds of it. Like I remember like back on the Radio X in work day, it was like, oh, the new album from Gorillaz, and you're like, bloody hell, they only just released one last year, fucking hell.
Yeah.
And they did that. What was the last one? The one with like all the features with like Elton John and Robert Smith and all that, and Noel Gallagher did one
I
as
think it
well,
was
didn't
the
he?
one before that, wasn't it?
Was it? Yeah. That's what I mean. There's just so much. They're just
I've not been.
throwing so much at us. It's like,
Yeah, I'd be a liar if I said I kept up with Gorillaz now in this day and age because I don't. Because, like I said, like you said before, I think they've had far more misses than hits in the career. Demon Days is probably the last album that was actually just a good album for me, as in like consistent. Since
that's like
then,
their second album as well.
exactly, that was nearly 20 years ago at this point. So yeah, it's just I just again I picked this song because of it's got the nostalgia factor for me, but it's also one of the handful of Gorillaz songs that I pick out and put in the like pile rather than
Yeah.
a massive growing sort of not bothered pile.
You say I've got an upcoming idea for an episode, just all based all around that, and it was Ray influence from this list actually.
Yeah.
So we'll discuss that behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Right, my pick now, the Red Hot Chili Peppers' triumphant return to the show. Not been discussed in quite some time, especially in Michigan from 2006. On our way to a family holiday to Cornwall, we picked up 2 CDs from Asda. We picked up the Red Hot Chili Peppers' Greatest Hits at Stadium Arcadium, which was the newest album at the time. It had not long come out. I remember it being advertised on TV. I remember Danny California being played constantly. I loved that song when I was a kid, love it now. And this was pretty much, as you can imagine, a trip to Cornwall from where we are is like, what, 6 to 7 hour drive. So these 2 CDs were just on constantly throughout the whole trip, and they all just got burned into my brain. This song always stood out because it is just a jam, and B, cute and silly as hell. The lions and tigers are just so cute. The band just absolutely nailing it, going for gold. John Frusciante just absolutely shredding the guitar to bits. Flea's galloping bass, and then Kiedis just going lions and tigers, double chins and bowling pins, swimming with the mother duck. It's like what? This is nonsense. What is going on in the song? I can just picture all these lovely animals in a zoo or something. It's just so random and funny. We'd always say to me mum, like me, brother and sister, we'd be like, put the Lions and Tigers song on. And we all used to laugh like, oh, lions and tigers come running just to steal your love. One thing I've got to say is like Kiedis, he's a very easy vocalist to match. You can sing Kiedis parts very easily, but on this song he goes very high. He goes a bit out of his range, and if you try singing along to it, I don't know if you ever like have a sing in the car and that, you try and match that. Lions and tigers come running just to steal your love. Like it's that. It's like, okay, you know, he's done something a bit impressive there. But as I say, cuteness and memes aside, I just think it's a stellar track off a stellar album. I love it, and it is a bit of a deeper cut rather than going with Snow or Danny California or something like that.
So we might have a little bit of a debate here now. I always loved this track, but to me, this is a great song from a very inconsistent album. Like I've thought this album has so much bloat on it.
No. What bloat's it got?
All the Animal Bar.
Animal Bar's great.
Make You Feel Better and all.
Make You Feel Better is an absolute jam.
You've got the nostalgia thing.
No, I haven't got the nostalgia.
To me, this album could have been it could have been one. It's a double album. It could have been one album easily. The best tracks on this album are very, very good, and this is one of them. But to me, we won't get too deep into it, but to me, it's an inconsistent album. It goes fucking hot. It blows hot and cold. But this song, anyway, I think the guitar licks, they're so tasty, so emotive. John's guitar tone has always sounded like amazing to my ears. Sounds particularly satisfying on this track, especially the swimming with the mother ducks bit when you've got the do 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 from the guitar over the top. He sounds, John, like he's an amazing guitarist because he sounds like he's just in the background playing his own song. Sounds like he does that on a lot of Chili Peppers songs, doesn't he? He sort of has his own little jam in the background, but how well does it work?
I said this on the Chili Peppers episode. This is quite a bit graphic, but like I get like a sexual thrill off John Frusciante's guitar playing. Like I do, like it gets me a bit like
it's ASMR.
It gets me a bit horny. It gets me a bit like it sounds so fucking sexy. Like when he's just on the hammer-ons and the but yeah,
I actually do know what you mean with that. It's got an ASMR quality to it. Like I said, it's the tone and everything, isn't it?
Yeah,
I can't fault any of the performances on this song. It's the Chili Peppers at the strongest in terms of performance and songwriting.
I said this, and I like, as much as I'm such a huge fan, and I'm glad they're still going, and I've enjoyed the recent music. If their career ended here, for me, my opinion, I think it would have been a perfect bookend from Stadium to Californication.
I agree.
Just that run of albums was just peak. It was just gold after gold. It was just, here's a fucking banger of an album. Yeah. Here's another one. Here's another one.
Like I said,
here's a double one.
Like I said with this album, to me, I appreciate the ambition of it, and I appreciate that they were clearly at this point in their career so chock full of ideas that they put out a double album, and really because they were always going to release a double album, weren't they? They were at the peak of their powers and stuff. So I do appreciate this album for what it sort of represents, the point as far as the point of the band's career it was at. To me, as a whole listen, it's not stood up Stadium Arcadium. That's not to say that there aren't 7 or 8 amazing tracks that I can pick off this album and enjoy to this day, because there are. This is one of them. I've got to say, this is a good pick for this list.
Out the attic. You're wrong, by the way, about Stadium Arcadium.
Okay.
Let us know what you think of Stadium Arcadium. Next one, another one of your picks.
Yeah.
CKY, which there's some recent news about CKY
Topical.
and another band on the list, isn't there?
Very topical,
We
yeah.
can either get into it now or when we get to the next band. It's up to you. 96 quite bitter beers from 1999.
Beings, yeah. Well, I remember hearing this song on Jackass. And I know that Bam's brother was in this band, and he used to promote CKY quite a bit.
Was that the connection? Yeah.
So I heard it on Jackass, and I loved it, but I never knew what it was called or who it was by, 'cause it was just sort of in the opening, the title sequence or whatever. It used to really annoy me because you couldn't just pick up Google. You couldn't just go on Google back then and find this stuff.
Yeah. Sometimes it was a struggle, wasn't it?
So, but I knew that I liked it, and I knew that I loved that riff, and it was and I was just like, what is that song? It was many years later when I actually found out what it was called, but I picked it for this list because I loved it when I heard it on Jackass, and I know that I loved it. But it was many years later as an adult when I found out what it was called. Obviously, the selling point of the song is that riff, isn't it? It's just so catchy, it's bouncy, it doesn't even need any vocals over the top of it. It's the chorus riff.
Well, here we go. This is what we're going to go into.
Yeah, but it doesn't, though. I mean, the vocals would just get in the way. The vocals, to me, if there were vocals over this, it would sound so...
No, this is it.
It would sound so messy to me. It sounds so like sort of... To me, it's the focus of the song. It's the focus of the chorus. And I think it carries the song on its own, to be honest with you. I do like the rest of the song, but I wouldn't put it on this list if it wasn't for that riff. If that riff didn't grab hold of me like it did and shook me as a kid, forced me to pay attention to it. So I think the stoner rock vibes as well, I dig quite a bit as an adult now. I enjoy the wild freak out towards the end with the rolling drum fills and the layers of guitar building on each other. But yeah, that riff, and now I want you to explain to everyone listening to this why this riff needs vocals over the top.
No, I don't. But when you mention the vocals, like I'm gonna go a bit off the beaten track here and not follow me notes word for word. But I'm just gonna say the vocals ruin this song. Absolutely ruin this song. For me, this is like a proof for God in a way, because it's like there's no way that a band like CKY can make such a brilliant track, so there has to be something some divine intervention that comes in and ruins this track, and it's the but this weird effect over the vocals, isn't it?
It's like southern metal, stoner metal, though, isn't it? It's
supposed
to have that rough quality.
When that kicks in, and I'm like, what the fuck went on in that fucking recording studio? The guitarist is just like, his fingers are on fire. Whoever came up with that riff, whoever the guitarist is, he made gold. He just and it just felt like it's almost like a Greek myth in a way, where like a mortal discovers fire, you know what I mean? Like Prometheus and gives fire to the mortals. It's like this band had no right to come out with such a good song. They had no right to make no others of their songs in their discography are this good. A band I always felt in the same vein, and until I discovered years later what actually happened was Butterfly by Crazy Train. I was like, how have this band made such a good song? And then I found out it was a Red Hot Chili Peppers sample. It was like, so for me with this song, it's like, how could such like a daft, silly, stupid band create such a fire? That riff, and even like the later bits, like dun dun dun.
I mean, you've been a musician in a band that's performed originals and stuff. Like, would you ever imagine coming up with a riff like that?
No, well, Jamie was the guitarist, wasn't he? But again, even as a bassist, like it's such a fire riff, and that's why it's like to come from this band. Like, if that came from like Iron Maiden, you'd be like, oh yeah, Dave Murray's at it once again with the fire. Fucking CKY.
This band just hits you.
So this band, for me, my exposure to this band was like, as you say, they were very deeply connected with Bam Margera, Jackass, and all that. But I remember there was this one song by them in this music video, and it should have been on the worst songs, really, because it's fucking awful. And it's this song about He-Man and Skeletor, and the joke is that they're gay and they have sex with each other.
Oh, never heard
And
of that.
I will have to dig this song out from the deep, deep trenches. My friend loved it, and they used to play it, and it was so vulgar and disgusting and just stupid. And it was just Skeletor and He-Man, like, I want to suck your cock and goggle your cum, and it was fucking rancid. I remember my mate, like, he'd be like on the floor rolling, cracking up, laughing at the song, and I'd just be like, this is fucking stupid. I remember he put on one of the CKY film, was it films or whatever, like one of their DVDs, and it was just like, I was watching it going like, this is fucking stupid. Like, I quite liked Jackass, but the CKY gave me vibes of something I remember you enjoying, and I never got this, was Dirty Sanchez. Like that kind of frat boy, that humour, that really just men being young lads, young men just being horrible human beings. Like, I'd always watch it, or like everyone would be around watching it on the DVD howling. I'd be like, I don't get this, but we've gone off the beaten path here anyway. But CKY, what a weird, strange band to exist on this planet again. This one song is like up there with the greats in a way, but then he comes in with that vocals like, and then like during that chorus where you said you'd like it, where he just goes, It's like if he was taken out of the equation and this was just an instrumental, it would be fire. If it was like a 3 minute long instrumental, you'd be like, oh, this is great, put that track on.
I do get it, but I'm just laughing to myself here because I've just scrolled down my notes and we're talking about vocals. And I've just seen what song's next on the list.
Next up's coming up to a good one.
Do you know what? I wouldn't be too bothered about leaving this song in the attic.
Yeah, what I'd like to do is I'd take the riff
on its own,
take the riff and the vocalist would be like, take me with you. I'd be fucking slamming that box jug and you fuck off, you're a menace. So anyway, the CKY vocalist has been a bit of drama between him and a band I didn't even know still existed, Alien Ant Farm.
Yeah.
They've been touring together. First I've heard of it. If you want to go and hear 3 good songs of 2 bands, then go grab it.
Two and a half good songs.
Yeah. Go help yourself.
Oh my God.
But they've pulled out the tour, the co-tour. The CKY have been kicked out the tour because he's punched the lead singer of Alien Ant Farm.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I believe that he has been. I believe that this guy
been like a menace, hasn't he?
I believe that he is actually a menace. Yeah, I believe he's been throughout the tour. Tensions have been building between members of Alien Ant Farm and CKY because of his behaviour backstage, especially with like. Well, I heard a rumor that there were that there was female road crew or something like that, and he's apparently been not.
Has he been doing bad stuff?
Not anything like that, but he's been basically a sexist pig to them and stuff.
Right.
Just completely out of order. Just
doesn't shock me.
Belittling them, sort of. And I believe tensions have been building because of that. That's only a rumour that I've seen. But it all led to this fight and stuff, and they've been kicked off the tour now. So that may be the last we ever hear of CKY.
You'll never hear that juicy, tasty riff live again. Just learn it on guitar yourself. That's all you need to do. Right, okay. One of my picks now. Time for some redemption on your behalf here. We have got Mama by My Chemical Romance from 2006 from the critically acclaimed, widely loved Black Parade album, by the way. It weighed heavily on my mind what MCR track to add to this list. But as I wanted to find songs that have been somewhat left in the attic with all the other keepsakes of the past, I went with Mama. It's very quirky and Tim Burton coded. I always loved it. I loved kind of like the 40s Vera Lynn callbacks and the kind of Soviet kind of, the Soviet music that's kind of playing in it. The stylings to like wartime music, but with kind of like that sinister twist. Going back to the theatrics with Jesus Christ Superstar, Gerard playing like various characters, putting on voices and just being a bit of a goofball, but please go off on Mama.
Oh, God. Right. I need to get something out there nice and early for a bit of context. I don't understand this band. I've never liked them. I never liked them back in the day. I know they've had a bit of a critical reevaluation in recent years. They've become, like you said, strangely beloved by critics. And
do you know what I think it is?
Yeah.
I think it's because there was such a stigmatism against them.
Yeah.
And such like a vocal...
Yeah. Getting thrown back now.
A vocal hatred against them. I think a lot of people have reflected, like I said at the beginning, of a lot of songs have reflected on and gone, I was too harsh on that. I think there's an element of a lot of people coming round on this band going like, oh, I don't really know why I gave this band so much grief. And I think their fan base has always been, because of that, because of what they went through, they've always been very loyal, very committed to this band.
Yeah.
I think that's got a lot of part of it. I will admit, I'm a big My Chemical Romance fan. Always liked them. Pretended I didn't for a while to try and fit in with the crowd. But I think they're messy. I do think they're a messy band, all in all. I don't think like they should be like up there with, you know, the greats like people are putting them in.
Yeah.
I think they appeal to a younger audience, and obviously newer generations are discovering this band and picking up this band, which I think's great personally. And then there's kind of the nostalgic, the emo explosion, you know, a lot of nostalgia around that.
Yeah.
And then, as you say, the third option, the people have kind of come round on them a bit and feel maybe a bit of guilt, and maybe they're trying to like fit in a bit more now because the tides are turning and been like, oh yeah, Black Parade, that's a masterpiece.
Well, that's it, because
I think Black Parade's a good album, but it's not a masterpiece.
No.
It's not. It's not even one of the. It's not even the best My Chem album.
But I see, like, I listened to this. I went into this, and I sort of semi-regularly in the past went back to this band with the best intentions, genuinely wanting to hear what I've been missing this whole time. Like, I wanted to listen to this and hear, like I want to hear what everyone else hears. Like, has this actually been high art all along? Was I just stubborn like you were?
Plenty of bands that I feel like that.
Yeah, so like, is it some sort of rock gold standard? Does it actually stand apart from all those bands like Taking Back Sunday, The Used, Hawthorne Heights, etc., etc.? I listen to it and I'm just sat scratching my head like, what makes it special? Like, I mean, this song, I can't. With Gerard Way's vocals, it's a barrier that I cannot get past. Like, the hammed up accent, the enunciations, the into James Hetfield on this podcast before for this sort of thing, so we've got to dish the criticism out fairly, the extra syllables on the end of words and all that sort of stuff. Just feel like Gerard Way. Like, I listen to this and I think my first thought is, this is for kids. I genuinely listen to this song and I think
with Tim Burton coded.
But it's like, it reminds me of, like, you know, like when you've got a kid with ADHD and they need to be constantly stimulated with like bright lights and colours and flash and loud noises. I picture Mr. Blobby running around just going like Gerard Way, you know, he's all over the place and he's up and down and he's like, oh God. And instrumentally, it's got this like circus-ish waltz to it, hasn't it? It's just cute and cheeky for about 20 seconds. Then it just started to annoy me. Oh God, I feel bad. This song, right, is 4.5 minutes. Why does this feel so goddamn long, this song? Why does this song feel longer than The Glowing Man to me? Like, I thought this song had ended and my Spotify had a little wobble and it sort of like started playing the next song on the album and stuff. I look, and I was astonished to see that.
What point exactly did that feel, you know, like?
When he's going...
Oh yeah, the breakdown.
Yeah. And then boom, and then it's like, right, okay, the song's ended now. And then
I wish I could call you my sweetheart.
God, it's like,
maybe then sing you a song.
So that just
but
like,
that shit that I got with the stroke of a gun.
He's too much. Like I said, I
can see that. I can see that.
It feels like he is. It feels like he's trying to entertain a restless child. It feels like he's like I said, this sort of Barney the dinosaur character, sort of running back and forth, going. I
do think, everywhere. Yeah, I do think Gerard Way is very ADHD coded.
Oh my God!
No, that's not a slight to people with ADHD.
No.
But as I say, with the criticisms I have of My Chemical Romance, again, a band I really like, but at the same time, I think if you're a fan of a band, you should be critical. Like as you said, with the stan culture, hate it, and people like everything. This is a masterpiece. It's like, no, come on, like, you know, no, Black Parade does have Sleeping House of Wolves on it. It's not great, you know what I mean?
Well, that's the thing as well. Like, I won't go into it too deep, but I thought this can't be the best song that this album has to offer. It can't be.
It's not.
So I actually went out my way to give them a fair chance, like I said. And I actually sat down and listened to the Black Parade in its entirety. And this was probably my second least favourite song on the album. There's a lot of
Teenagers has to be the first.
teenagers
Yeah,
is
that is awful.
that is god awful.
That is a hit chaser whenever
Yeah.
whenever I see him
One
on, like,
thing I will say is thank God you didn't pick that for me.
there's no way I would have ever picked that. I hated that.
There's songs on that album that I can say that they're not bad songs. They're ruined for me personally by the vocals because I can't listen to Gerard Way, but they're not terrible songs. And there's a lot of songs on that sort of I understand they have value. I can see why people like them. Not to say that again, it's got the vocal element that ruins it for me, but this song it just wasn't for me. Like I've accepted now that I'm not gonna jump aboard the My Chemical Romance bandwagon. That they weren't for me back in the day. They're not for me now, and they won't be in the future. So I'm happy to let this be the last time I press play on a My Chemical Romance song.
That's a shame for me. Anyway, I'll keep it in the attic for me again. I as a youth when I was younger, I loved its quirkiness. I loved like its sinister, like it's like as you say, this cute cheeky little.
Yeah.
Then it's like the lyrical content. I like it personally. I
It's
enjoyed it when I heard it live a few years ago.
yeah.
But again, I think it is one of them. Like sometimes bands get put on a pedestal, don't they? And this band was great and the masterpiece. It's right, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But anyway, oh boy, that was something. So we're getting to your pick, Muse Plug-in Baby from 2001.
Yeah, Plug-in Baby. This was one of about 12 songs that I could fit on my screenless tampon-shaped MP3 player. At one point, do you remember them? Little thing like USB style MP3 players. I remember it took me about 2 hours to download LimeWire. It took me about I sat there at the computer for about 2 hours trying to download this, and time is running out off LimeWire.
Time's running out. Thought about that.
Riff, man, like again, going back to riffs, like it's the first thing you hear that still goes so hard, and I just love the tone so much. The bass tone as well in this, it's old school Muse, isn't it? It's the fuzzed out, the gnarly, sort of distorted, great. Chorus vocals, again, Matt Bellamy's got a very distinct style, theatrical, wild, similar to Justin Hawkins in a way we mentioned earlier. It's very Queen influenced, isn't it? It's also influenced by classic prog and jazz fusion. Don't know how this band ended up taking such a nosedive in their career because they had such potential at one point. I don't care what anyone says, they're a band full of virtuoso musicians. How did they end up making Will of the People?
Yeah, it's funny that you said that. Like, again, the thing I've got to point out is the funny thing about a lot of your picks is all of them went in my rotation.
Yeah.
I never really where. Yeah, I'm so aware of these songs and I've heard them plenty of times. Muse are another strange one for me. A very cherry pick band, you know what I mean? I'm not their biggest fan, but sometimes they really do just kind of turn the fuck up, fire on all cylinders. And you're right, this is a belter of a track, to be fair. It's chaotic, that frantic bass line, again, that boom bam boom boom bam playing throughout. Even on the more calmer bits on that, on the verses, it's still keeps the pace, keeps the momentum. I think it's a great track. I think this is a band that it really is like you look on it and you're like, well, what happened to you?
It's sad, isn't it? Like they could have made such great music if they wanted. Like
again, maybe it's just how everything blurs together, like in your memory. But Radio X, new Muse albums coming out, and it kind of felt like there was a period where there was a new album coming out every year, every other year, and it just started all blending in together. And it was like, well, what was the last album? Was it Drones? Was it Will of the People? What was the one before that? It kind of felt like each album was doing something interesting of its own. Like you had that, what was the one with the Black Holes and Revelations? And then after that, they kind of had a bit of a shift again, didn't they? And then they even had what was it, the Second Wave and stuff like that. It felt like, oh, this band are doing a bit of this time. This band are doing a bit of that. And I remember they are a very approachable band. I've always found that they're a band that, again, you'll hear them on the alternative radios. I know my mum's a big fan of them. For me, they've always just kind of been there in the background. Like a Muse song comes on, I'm not going to start kicking up a fuss.
No, yeah.
I'd be like, I enjoy this band. This this is an alright band. But yeah, it just seemed like they just got into a bit of a slump where it's like,
You've got to go
oh,
back.
let's release another album. Oh, let's shit this one out.
You've got to go back well over a decade to find any gold in the Muse back catalogue like this song, or maybe Nights of Sidonia or something like that. Those songs are all 15 years old at this point. They really have fell off in a way that I can't quite sort of put into words. Again, loved this song back in the day. Still love it now. I just wish that they fulfill. I know they're a massive stadium band and all that sort of stuff, but I just wish they fulfilled their potential musically rather than chase the cash grab and stuff.
Yeah.
Is what it is, isn't it?
I'd say Out the Attic, but I don't think it was ever in the attic, to be honest. I think it was in the coat closet.
Yeah,
it's always been present and around, and it's never left. I've never gone, I've not heard this for ages. It's a song that you're gonna hear if you're out and about in the world.
Definitely.
Yeah, and one of my picks now, Linkin Park, My December, spelt all weird and strange. Some kind of remix. I'm not reading out the whole fucking title of the song.
Yeah, no.
2002. We're going to get into the start of my kind of forever running hopeless romantic era now. Remixes and reworkings are something I've never really been into, but this is definitely superior to the original, in my opinion. This was a winter jam and a half, obviously by its title. Walk again, like Special Needs, walking around town with the cold chill, the grey sky above. Love it. I think this song is a lovely electronic little jam. The chorus is so sad with the guest female vocalist matching Chester really well. This feels like this was a feel song back in the day. Where it did feel like give it all away, my PS2, my iPod, and my flip phone. For the fictional girl of my dreams, you know what I mean? I listened to this song being like, they say like this was it now. This was like they're getting into, discovering females, getting into having crushes and sitting there lying on me bed like, I wish she'd notice me.
Yeah.
What do you think of this song?
So the first time I listened to this track, I did not like it at all. I thought it was so boring. I struggled to come up with anything to say about it, but I have softened on it with further listens. It's got some interesting industrial backing instrumentation, sounds like IDM-ish drums. It reminds me a little bit of Autechre.
Yeah.
It's got metallic sounding percussion, hasn't it? Yeah, Chester's vocals are very soft and blissful. He's always done this vulnerable style very well, hasn't he?
Yeah.
It's still a little bit average for me. It's like dipping its toes into IDM. It's just putting the tip in. I want you to go balls deep. I want you to go right to the nuts in IDM. I want to hear the nuts slapping against the cheeks. In terms of IDM, it's like a bit half. It's trying to go experimental.
Well, it's not an original song, is it?
It's a remix.
It's a remix, isn't it?
Again,
so there is always going to be that statute of limitation, isn't it? Where it's it's not you're not going to get what you want out of that in that aspect, are you?
And Linkin Park, they did always have to still satisfy the pop. The audience, didn't they? Because they were still a very, very popular band, and they didn't want to go completely off the deep end and alienate the core fan base, did they? So
this was very early. I think this song was like a bonus track off the first album,
right?
And then this song itself was off the remix album, the Reanimation, which I'm not really a fan of, to be honest. But I say that this one always stood out, and for me it was like that nice little feel song, headphones in the ears. Why would she notice me? Why would she see me for the guy I am? Girls never go for the nice guys.
Linkin Park, they do the sort of mopey woe is me thing very well.
Yeah, that was it. It was very. I loved that when I was a teen. I was a very melancholic, self-pity, very very emo, very moody character. So it worked well for me.
Yeah. So not much more to say about it really. I thought it was decent. Thought it was decent, but I wouldn't revisit personally.
No, I'll take it out the attic, mate. I think it's a nice little lovely song. I'm put it on and think back to yesteryear. But we'll move on. We'll keep on moving, baby, rolling like a river. We're getting to your pick again. System of a Down, Science from 2001.
Yes. So much like Deftones, another band from my youth that are still very much beloved by me, beloved by both of us. We've discussed this song on the podcast before, but I just wanted to glaze it some more. It's amazing, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Solid start.
Darren's guitar riff with the harmonics, they're sort of like, they're so hype, aren't they? Like, he's such an underrated guitarist, and he's got such a creative and unique style with the sort of, you don't really hear that style very much, especially in alternative metal. He can really shred a drop C riff, can't he? But he throws in the harmonics that Yeah. The Middle Eastern instrumental break with the throat singing. The second half of that track, it's like that's what makes this song stand apart. It's so satisfying, isn't it? Pleasant to the ears. It possibly is my favourite System of a Down song, and I think I said that on the System of a Down
I believe you
episode.
did, yeah.
From an album that we both consider a 10 out of 10. So I've got nothing but praise for it. Again, I couldn't leave System of a Down off this list.
Yeah, so our list is quite wild, neck snapping, tone changing, isn't it? Of course, System were going to show up. I didn't want to add them myself because I wanted to avoid both new metal and also music that's still heavily in rotation. The System of a Down never really left it for me. Great cut off Toxicity, love the breakdown, like you said, and the cute riffage. Top pick. I don't want to dwell on it too long because this is the band we have covered, but things are gonna come back up every now and again. And obviously, if you've never heard the System of a Down episode, if you're into them, check out that episode. But it's a solid track. That album again, I have so much kind of like nostalgia for. This was kind of me getting turned on to like modern music at long last after coming out of my stubbornness a little bit. I remember having this on like burnt CD. And just having it on my CD player, like having it blasting while my parents are in the house, and I was like, thought to myself, what the fuck must they be thinking? Like, I went out on a date. She had so many friends. But that's a story we've spoken about on another episode. So please, after this one, put it on your queue. Check out the System of a Down episode. Top one we did. Needs a bit more love, that episode, to be honest. Out the Attic. Yeah. No disagreements.
Definitely. Yeah. Again, it's one of them that for me, it's always been on full display. So great song.
I'm interested in this one. I don't know what you'll think about this one. So we've got Snow Patrol featuring Martha Wainwright. Don't know who she is, but there you go. Set Fire to the Third Bar from 2006. So my mum got me onto this song. I remember playing it quite a bit. I was like, what's this song? I loved that it was like so sad and miserable. Another like high-pitched female vocalist who sounds a bit familiar to the one off My December, I think.
Yeah.
I loved the build-up to this track. The chorus is like, they always give me like goosebumps, that whole like miles from where you are. I used to lie on my bed with headphones late at night, listen to this song and think about my girlfriend at the time. Now I wish she'd like lift me up in her warm arms, even though she was only like a mile away from me max at the time. You know what I mean? I've got to go off on like a bit of a funny story about that because it is music related.
Okay.
So the girlfriend at the time, right? We split up. She dumped me through text. Have you ever been dumped via text?
No, actually.
No.
Yeah, go on.
So there was a bit of naughtiness on my behalf, but like it wasn't super naughty. But what basically happened was we were all meant to go out, all of us, big group of us, and she was meant to come with into Liverpool for a big day out, big cuteness, go Quiggins and all that. she flaked. She cancelled on us. And I was just with like they were all their mates, like a group of mates. I was like, fucking hell, what the fuck am I meant to do here? And they were like, oh, come with us, John. You're the laugh, John. Come with us and all that. So I did. I had a good day out with all their mates who, were all like, there's a few lads with us, but it was all mostly girls and that. And there was this one girl, I'll try and keep names out of this.
Yeah.
There was one girl in particular I was like, talking to quite a bit, getting on with quite a bit, and she was a bit of like the punching bag of the group. I remember like she was always like a bit of the punching bag, and I was like talking to her, going like, she's all right, this girl. Like I don't get like why everyone in the group like kind of like shits on her a lot. But we're in the museum, walking around the museum like a bunch of like gimpy kids. We're all like 15 at the time. And she goes, oh, we're all coming back to mine like later, after we go home for our dinners off our lovely mum and dad's and that. After you've had your turkey dinosaurs, do you want to come round to mine with everyone else and, DVDs and all that? So yeah, all right, I'll do that. I went round to hers and it was literally just her and another one of her mates there.
Oh.
And I was like, is this like a bit of a set up or something like that? Didn't think anything of it, but she had Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Man's Chest on DVD, and We're out in the woods here, but like,
Oh yeah.
it's a good story. So I went, oh bloody hell, but I've not seen that. Dead Man's Chest, can I borrow it? She's like, yeah, sure. So I'll take it home, watch Dead Man's Chest. The next day, I'm like, oh, I'll go hand this DVD back to her. So I go to her house, knocking her door, just passing on this DVD, and then so fucking stupid. Like she goes, oh, I come in for a bit and all that. So okay, don't think anything too bad of this. Like, come in, we're chatting, and then a parents come and they're like, the parents are like, oh, we're off to the garden centre. Do you want to come to the garden centre with us?
Oh.
I know, yeah, it's so weird coded, isn't it?
Oh my word.
So I was like, you know what? Yeah, I'll come to the garden centre. So I go to the garden centre with this girl and her parents while I've got a girlfriend. And I'm like, I really don't think much of it. I'm just like, oh, this is a bit of a laugh. We go to the garden centre, and then I go home later that night, and I don't know if she caught on or figured out what had gone on or anything like that. I get dumped by text. I just get the typical, don't think it's working, still think we should be friends. You all right with that text?
Yeah.
And I was a bit like, I was very shocked. I was like, I've been with this girl for about like 8 months, which at the time, like, it was basically marriage. You know what I mean? So I was like, I was like, fuck, what am I going to do? Like, I'm fucked there. I didn't know what to do, so I texted the girl I've been hanging around with that day. I was like, oh, bloody, redacted, just dumped me. And she was like, oh, fucking hell, why? And all that. Like, I don't know, I'm heartbroken and all that. Anyway, we'll cut on a bit there. So when what happens is me and this other girl start getting closer and closer. My ex, the girl who dumped me, my ex, she finds out and she's fucking like livid and she's like kicking off on me, going like, why are you and redacted? Getting, you know what I mean? Like, what's going on with you two and all that? And she was like, you can't go out with her because she's my mate. I was like, A, you always shit on her and you always said you hated her and all that. B, you dumped me via text. I can do whatever the fuck I want. But part of me, the reason I didn't like go in and end up going out with this other girl was because I still like had feelings for my ex. Yeah. So I was a bit like, maybe things, because we'd broken up and got together like in the past. So I was a bit like, oh fucking hell, like there was confliction, but eventually I ended up getting with this other girl, and there was absolute drama in the group, as you can imagine. Yeah. There was complete warfare. It was like the Cold War. You know what I mean? It was like the Cuban Missile Crisis. Like, apparently I wish I was a fly on the wall for this, but they were all round at each other's houses once, and there was just a full on like big group of them, like 8, and there was just this big heated debate all night about the whole situation. But I remember I still kind of spoke to my ex a little bit and wanted to keep it friendly with her. And and this is where it actually gets back into the music. This is going somewhere. So I'm on MySpace and I get a MySpace notification and someone's written on me fucking wall or whatever the fuck it was back then. It was my ex with a link to the YouTube video of Avril Lavigne's Girlfriend. Girlfriend, hey, you, I don't like your girlfriend, hey, you, think you get a new one. So I just went, very funny, very good. I thought it was quite funny myself, and I was loving the attention. I was like, oh, this is great, all these girls giving me all this, like fighting over me and that, you know what I mean? So I laughed it off and went, oh, that's quite funny, that, yeah, well done, And then next thing, like, me girlfriend then at the time, like, she's like, calls me on, she's like, been bawling her eyes out, she's like so upset and all that. So I had to then pretend to be cross and shout at me ex and go, that was very bad what you did. That was a little tale for me youth,
I thought this was going to link back to Snow Patrol Set Fire to the Third Part.
No, it was just that this song always just reminds me of that ex. So that time period. Brilliant. Anyway, I just wanted to get that story out there. I was fucking mad with the Avril Lavigne fucking girlfriend shout out.
Childhood drama.
What did you think of Set Fire to the Third Bar?
Okay, so this was a pleasant little surprise. You've got to be totally honest. I dig on a little bit of Snow Patrol sometimes. Yeah, I really like the song Hands Open. And
it's got that, isn't it?
With your hands open. And Run and Chocolate are both tunes as well. I know Chasing Cars has been beaten to death like a knackered horse.
Oh, absolutely. And Run as well.
I do like Run, to be honest with you. But this song's giving nice little soft, melancholic indie pop, isn't it? It's giving Belle and Sebastian vibes, which I really appreciate. I think that's the Scottish connection as well. But I think the male and female vocals complement each other very well. And what I love about this track is the way it favours anti-climax. It's always just threatening to bubble up and explodes.
Yeah, it never really does.
It never does, and it just sort
Yeah.
of ends on like a cliffhanger with this like lone piano note just ringing out. I dug it, to be honest. Decent
I'm
little indie
quite
pop song.
surprised. Yeah.
No, yeah, again, like Snow Patrol are a band that I always wondered why they were sort of like seen as like they were always sort of like mocked in the way sort of like Nickelback were in a way. You know, they were like the indie version of like a Nickelback.
They came out around the same time as like all like Coldplay, Snow Patrol,
Yeah.
and it all kind of blended into one thing, didn't it?
Yeah,
Like,
don't get me wrong. There's better indie pop out there than Snow
yeah,
Patrol, but there's also far worse.
I think they were one of them that they released a brilliant debut album and they never topped it.
Yeah. But yeah, again, I think it was a decent pick. I feel like I remember this song from back in the day, but I also feel like I don't. I also felt like this was a first listen. I'm sure I saw the music video to this.
I don't know if it was ever a single or anything.
Yeah, I think it was.
Oh, yeah, I
but
didn't know that.
again, I couldn't remember it for the life of me. It may as well have been a first listen for me, but yeah, not bad.
I'd also like to mention that when I was starting to see that other girl, I put the lyrics to Radiohead's Creep on me MySpace. And I put on it this song's dedicated for a certain someone.
Oh my
And
god.
then my ex commented on it going, let me guess.
I'm a creep.
That was good.
I'm a creep, I'm a weird.
I know, yeah.
Brilliant.
Anyway, next song, your pick, Oasis, The Hindu Times from 2002.
Yeah. So I first heard this song on a Now compilation CD. Yeah. It's from the album. It's from the 2002 album Heathen Chemistry. So around that time, it was one of the first songs that I think I truly loved. I think this was one of the first songs that I wanted to play on repeat. You know, it's much musically. It's very much your standard Oasis track. It's got them tasty little licks from Noel Gallagher. It's got a very much sort of a very hooky chorus with the "You're my sunshine, you're my rain."
Yeah.
I think it's very bright and something bright and summery or springtime about this song. I don't know. Holds a special place in my heart. I must
You're
say.
summer coded and I'm winter coded.
Definitely, yeah, yeah. So this above most other songs on this list tickles the nostalgia portion of my brain more than many others.
Yeah.
I don't have loads to say about it, but I had to throw it on it because I've got a lot of fondness for it.
Yeah, I think this is an Oasis jam through and through. Cute riff, played throughout. Quite earwormy riff that Liam's giving it the usual, but there's only shines and getting high.
Yeah.
But I did pick up that this song does sound a bit more like the music like Noel would kind of branch off and do with his own stuff on a solo project, rather than kind of like that raw, glaring Oasis track like Rock and Roll Star or like Supernova or something like that. There is a bit more nuance to it again.
It's very cleanly produced compared to the early stuff, isn't it? It's not like garage-y and raw.
Yeah, it's just an Oasis track through and through. I think that's it with Oasis. Is they're very like inoffensive with their music, aren't they? I think they're like a band that like you know
what you're going to get, don't you? And they deliver it every time.
Yeah. And if you want to pay like up to $1,000 to go see that live, then good on you. Let us know how that was next year. Back into so is that Out the Attic, the Oasis track?
For me, yeah, for me.
I'd keep it in there for me. The Snow Patrol one as well, Out the Attic. Anyway, onto my pick now. The poor victim of the brutal CKY vocalist. Alien Ant Farm movies from 2001. Sorry. 2 hit wonders, Alien Ant Farm. And one of them being a cover.
Yeah.
This was the Kerrang music channel brand. If you had Kerrang for any extended period of time, you would most certainly hear either Movies or Smooth Criminal by this band. Sadly, the Jackson cover is given more love and recognition than this lovely jam Movies. It feels so fun, but also has a somewhat like melancholic vibe to it. I only kind of realised that it's actually like a breakup song in more recent years.
Right.
It's so catchy and enjoyable. I've always loved it, despite like its overplayed music video. Like when it came on, I would be happy. I'd be like, "Oh, good song, this."
Yeah.
Funny enough, like as we said with James Hetfield and the vocals, I noticed that he's doing a lot of the James Hetfield things. He's like, and just like the moon, we play out our last
scene.
Yeah, and he's like, emotion.
Yeah.
Display.
Definitely,
Focus. He's also doing a bit of the Pearl Jammy thing as well, isn't he, in a way? I think this is a band that they just never really found like the
No.
right kind of direction to go in. Like again, they seem like a fun CKY bloodhound gangish kind of band, but
Yeah.
the music was a lot more kind of somber and a bit more, kind of.
Mm.
I think maybe they were a bit before the time. Maybe if they emoed up a bit and got the fringe and that going, and Movies was a bit more of an emo anthem.
Yeah.
Maybe they could have done better for themselves, but hey, oh, they're still out there touring,
Yeah.
getting punched by CKY. So
They just sort of fell into this quite vague, quite sort of like hard to categorize
mm,
style of music, didn't they? They're just like an alt rock band, and I don't know how else you can describe them.
so
It's like
they
it's
were
just
like
alt rock. That's it.
nothing special, but they had a six-string bassist.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
was like,
yeah.
what? Why do you need? Do you need that bass,
No,
mate? Do you need that?
no. You're not gonna be tuning down to drop A and playing some
Yeah.
gent, are you? You're not gonna be
I
playing.
mean, I
You're
don't.
not gonna. You're
I've
not gonna
never
be playing.
heard anything outside this song with Smooth
Yeah.
Criminal, so I don't know.
I
But
can
I've,
confirm that they never. I can
yeah,
confirm that they never started playing Meshuggah on the six-string bass. But yeah, this song, it gives me such a feel-good factor. I think it's maybe because I remember the video and how cool and colourful it was.
yeah. Well, the kind of like Austin
Yeah,
Powers and Edward
Edward
Scissorhands in it.
Scissorhands and
Yeah,
all that. Yeah, yeah. The Karate Kid coming through the screen into it.
yeah,
All the movie references. I always preferred this song to Smooth Criminal. I think Smooth Criminal was maybe ironically, what killed this band's career. I think people just remember them as the Smooth Criminal band, don't
yeah. Definitely.
so yeah, I don't think that did them any favours. But it's a pretty straightforward alt rock song. No frills, nice and short. Comes and goes and gets the job done. It was always great when it came on in the Crazy House. I want you to be free.
I love like the breakdown. And if we make
Oh
a
yeah,
single, he's like there with his leg in the
science
air and he
fiction
showcase.
Brilliant. Yeah, yeah, good song.
Like movies.
Yeah,
Great song, Out the Attic, classic.
yeah,
I hope your black eye heals up quite well.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mr. Ant Farm. So then we get into your pick, LCD Sound System. Daft Punk is playing at my house from
Yeah.
2005.
Yeah. So these next two songs are both songs that I discovered from old FIFA video game soundtracks. I'm pretty certain this was FIFA 2005 and the next one was FIFA 2004. Got a pretty good memory when it comes to pointless facts like that. So this is a band that I have grown to love in recent years, more so albums like Sound of Silver than this album, which was the debut, but I still jam this song every now and again. But it has that added nostalgia bonus factor. It reminds me of Roberto Carlos scoring screamers in career mode. It's a fun, quirky, alternative dance bop. It's a hipster's favourite. Brings a lot of danceable energy to the table. It's pretty long for what it is, but
I felt that.
there's enough variety in instrumentation for me. There's a bit of cowbell that comes in the middle of the track. There's a lot of unusual sounds sort of incorporated into the background, which you sort of pick up on second and third listens and stuff like that. So I do think it's a good song. I do remember having it on the FIFA video game as I was playing the FIFA soundtrack. You could go onto the track list soundtrack and you could mute songs that you didn't want to hear. And this was one that I was just like, I kept on it. It was always on. It was always on the sort of the loading screen when I was loading it up. I went and muted a load of crap songs, but this one always made it into the final cut. So yeah, I don't know didn't know whether you would have heard this song before. I don't know when you would have heard it or where you would have heard it. So I thought this may be a first listen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First of all, In Betweeners music through and through.
In Betweeners.
I thought so. I can imagine
Right.
bow.
Yeah.
I could imagine like Neil doing something daft at a house party while Jay, Will, and Simon looking hotter as this song is playing in the background. I think it's a pretty fun indie jam. It made me think that I should have added Daft Punk to a Daft Punk track to this list because they were a band that I quite liked in my youth. It's pretty decent. Again, it's quite clear. It was it's quite clear it was the guitar that attracted you as a youth, as a young nipper, because a lot of these songs are very like riff focused. I've noticed, and this definitely like an indie classic with that classic riffage and stuff like that.
It sounds like a sort of guitar, but it also sounds a bit like it could be like a sort of synth, doesn't it? But yeah, I think it does sound quite indie rock inspired at the very least, doesn't it?
Yeah.
From this band, which was very much sort of alternative dance.
Just a decent track in my opinion.
Yeah.
No real thoughts against it. Cute, nice indie. It definitely does feel FIFA coded. Now that you've brought that up.
Yeah.
Probably I'd heard it before, but
Yeah.
nothing really striked out too much to like, oh yeah, I know this song. On to another one of my picks now. We are getting on, well, pretty much almost at the end of our list now, aren't we?
Mhm.
It's been a journey.
Yeah.
And then we've got The Cure, Underneath the Stars from 2008.
Mm-hmm.
And my picks come to a close. You weren't going to escape the Cure on this list like this.
Yeah.
I even considered having two on here, but you protested. I've always loved this song, and it does fill me with nostalgia as it's an opener to the first album release since I became a fan of the band back in 2008. On an album we can now call the previous album after 16 years. Easily a highlight on the album, and probably one of the only reasons this album should really exist, really.
Yeah.
I love the guitars and like the shoegaze feel. Again, I would always like envision in my head like a perfect romantic scenario where I would be like lying on a hill with this little love of mine there, looking up at the stars while this song played. One night, a situation where this situation could be played out, although it was with some random girl that wasn't really my type, and I wasn't really, and she was being like dead clingy and being a bit weird, and I was like, oh god, I need to shake this girl off. But I was in this situation, and I was like, well, I may not ever get a chance like this again. So I put the song on, and we lay down on the hill, and it was probably one of the most disappointing moments of it. You know what I mean? It was like, it felt so cheap. It felt like oh well, suppose I've got to like live out this little fantasy of mine.
That wasn't quite what I envisaged in my
Yeah, it wasn't, no. But yeah, other than that, I think it's a solid, great, classic Cure track with more focus on the guitars and the likes of that than there's not much synth in it. This was kind of the era of the band where they were the kind of putting the synth to the back seat, which was probably one of the main reasons why they weren't really quite hitting it at this point in their career. What do you think of Underneath the Stars? Surely this was a first time listen.
It was a first time listen, yeah. There were elements that appealed to me in terms of the soundscape. It's very dream pop. It's very beach house. It's very slow dive. It's very space rock in a way. It's very like Mercury Rev coded. I think I enjoy the aesthetics of this song more than the actual song itself. I think I enjoy the sound of it more than like. It's not a bad song by any means. It just feels like it's lacking a standout hook or a melody that sticks with me after I finish listening.
Even the guitar, the
No, it does. Like I said, that stuff's reminding me of bands like Beach House and Slow Dive. Yeah. It's very jangly, isn't it? It's very pleasant to listen to. It's a sound that I think that The Cure have done better on other albums, but it's the sound and the idea of what this song is and the sort of the aesthetics of it, like I said, that appeal to me most about it rather than the actual song underneath. I could sort of see why this album sort of fizzled out like a bit of a fart in the wind type thing. You know what I mean? Like
a lot of the criticisms at the time where again the Sims really took a backseat. They were trying to match the contemporaries, and their peers at the time. It was very heavily guitar focused, and also the vocals. People had a bit of a problem. Like it's a bit hard to kind of really understand what Robert's saying in the song. It's all a bit like wishy washy. All got some kind of like effects over it and the likes of that.
Yeah, no. So yeah, it wasn't a bad track. Not a standout in the Cure's back catalogue for me though. But yeah.
No, okay. For me, it's never really left the attic. So we get into your last pick, the Dandy Warhols.
Yeah.
We used to be friends from 2003.
Yeah, another FIFA song. FIFA 2004 vibes. Reminds me of Patrick Vieira breaking through from midfield in the yellow away kit, laying it off to Thierry Henry to curl one into the far corner. It's a classic.
I'm annoyed that you've managed to get football into this podcast, to be honest. Again, this was meant to be a football safe zone for me.
That was a short story compared to your one before, your ex story. But yeah, it's a classic 2000s British indie song with psychedelic influences. It sounds a bit like Kasabian meets Suede type thing. Chorus is the highlight of this song for me, with the sort of the falsetto vocals, the come on now, give it on, yeah. Distorted guitar chords over the top of it. It's just a fun little indie tune, really. Again, it was one of them songs that as I was scrolling down my list on FIFA, mute that, keep that, mute that, definitely keep that, mute that. Yeah, I was interested to see what you thought of it because I can't remember it. I can't imagine you have ever heard this song, but you may have heard Bohemian Like You by Andy Warhols.
I haven't got lots and lots to say about it. I was wondering who these were until I looked on the Spotify and saw the track Bohemian Like You. I was like, Oh yeah, I was like, what are these like one-hit wonders? Like, you know what I mean? This track was the second most streamed track.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fine. Like that's
Yeah.
honestly all I could say about it. Like
Mm.
again, it's become a lot. I was thinking to myself, like, you know, where at what point in your life were you getting onto like
Mm.
songs like these and the
Yeah.
LCD sound system? But the FIFA, it all clicks into place. And I was like, yeah, that makes perfect sense
Yeah.
because
Mm.
I don't remember you being mad on like the indie train back
Yeah.
in the day.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like, yeah, it was fine. It was all right.
Yeah, fair enough.
All I've got to say for it, to be honest.
Yeah, it's the nostalgia factor of songs like this for me more than I'd definitely put this in one of my playlists now.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
listened back to it and I was like, I remember loving it as a kid. And I listened to it and I was like, actually, yeah, it's a good song.
I think when the chorus kicked in, I think I remember like being like, yeah, I've heard this before. You know
Yeah,
what
yeah.
I
So again, this is one of them that I think 12-year-old me. When I listen to this songs like this, I think, yeah, 12-year-old me was onto something there.
mean? Fair
But as
enough.
far as now, I wouldn't be like desperate to go out and play this
Yeah.
album or anything. But yeah,
That ends our picks. We've just got a couple of submissions from Tom and Jamie, so we'll get into them now. So we've got Kill Switch Engage, End of Heartbreak 2004. Now this is a time capsule of a track. This,
yeah,
God, I remember all the moshes in school wearing the fucking Kill Switch Engage hoodies and all like the kit and that. Now I do wonder about this band's fan base a bit because I think this band was at least flirting with emo,
yeah,
which
definitely.
for the metalheads in the day was a huge no-no. Because I always found it weird how they like shit on certain bands, but it was like, yeah, but you listen to this band and this band are like pretty kind of like emo in nature, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I have to say the mix on this sounds like really flat. I mean, if it weren't for its like power chorus,
Yeah.
this would be really such a nothing song for me. It's just that
Mm.
heartache,
Yeah.
like other than that, like if anything, I feel like it drags. It's
Yeah.
like dun 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 dun
I feel like the best thing about this song and the best thing about this band was the vocalist Howard Jones. I feel like he is a very, very good
They went
clean
through a
singer.
couple, didn't they?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think Howard Jones was by far the better of technically of the vocalists. I think he's a very good clean singer. I think he's got the baritone sort of bluesy,
Yeah.
clean singing voice, but
It,
he's
it
also
did make it stand out because it was
yeah.
like but most metal bands at the time were giving it a
But again,
like,
I think when he does that, when he transitions into the screaming stuff, he can pull that off very well.
yeah.
He sort of sounds like two different vocalists for me. When he's doing the screams and the verses to this song, and then the chorus comes in and it's the for comfort. I think it sounds like a different. Do you know what I mean when I say it sounds like there's two
It
vocalists?
does, yeah, it does,
And
yeah.
so I think he definitely carried this band. I was into the metalcore scene back then, and this band were a band that I cherry picked songs from and thought that's a great song, that's a great song, that's
Because
a
what
great
was
song.
the other one? What was the other major hit
Oh,
off this band?
there was a few. There was York. Was it My
Yeah,
Curse?
my curse.
Yeah,
My
there was
curse.
My
Yeah,
Curse and there was Rose of Sharon.
I know. I can't remember.
Yeah, there was a few, and I did love them songs to be honest with you. But again, it never really went too deep into this band's back catalogue because I just found a lot of it to be quite average.
Hmm.
And this was one of them at the time. I remember this being the big song, and everyone was like, "You've got to listen to End of
Yeah.
Heartache. You've got to listen to it." And I remember listening to it and just being like, "Yeah, but it's not as good as My Curse, is it? It's just not as good as Rose of Sharon." It's,
I've got to say, after listening to this and remembering my curse, I was like, "Oh yeah, that was the one I
yeah,
remembered over this." I do remember that for comfort.
yeah, yeah,
Grim.
yeah. So yeah, again, like it's not a terrible song. It's just a bit average for the genre for me. Like you said, it does sound a bit overproduced. It doesn't have that beef, that punch to it that you want from metal music.
Yeah,
Again, I can't really say that anything's bad technically. Like the guitarist can play his arse off. He is a very good guitarist. Howard Jones is a great vocalist technically. This band, they don't do anything wrong. They don't do anything wrong, but they just don't scratch that itch for me
yeah.
anymore.
I felt like that with a lot of the bands like around that time.
Yeah.
Again, as I say, I was a bit snotty, but at the same time, I just wasn't really feeling it. Like with the Triviums or the
Yeah.
Kill Switch Engages or the other stuff like that. I was kind of like I always kind of thought to myself, these bands will come and they'll go. And to be honest,
They did.
they kind of have,
Yeah,
haven't they?
they
You
did.
know what I mean?
They did exactly that.
Tom's notes on the song anyway. End the Heartache was like a teenage song, particularly aimed at the metal audience, but accessible for less metal listeners.
Hmm.
Good song, but 90% of it these days is nostalgia listens. I think this is 100% Back in the Attic song. I think it's very dated and very aged, isn't it? You know,
for me, yeah.
Listen to it with like a sense of irony of like, oh, remember this one from back in the day? Like, you know, it's not like, oh, slam a bit of Kill Switch on.
No.
Put a bit of Kill Switch on.
Whenever someone mentions them, it's like, oh, do you remember them? Like,
yeah, you're not at a house party and you're not like, right, put Kill Switch Engage on right now.
I'm not. No, I'm not.
It's a bit tongue in cheek as we're like, oh, remember this? Remember you had that hoodie? Remember the chain on the jeans? Like, it is like one of them. So yeah, Tom's next pick, which I was really happy with personally, was him. The Funeral of Hearts from 2003.
Yeah.
Now, in retrospect, I really should have had a hymn song on my list, but there's plenty of room for sequel episodes of these types of episodes. I love him. Loved them back in the day, but I was always a little bit shy about it as they were like mostly associated with being a band for girls since the old fancied the lead singer, Vinnie Vallo. I always found it mad how like the Jackass crew loved this band. I always found that so mad because they just didn't seem like the right audience for them, did they?
Bam was like the biggest him fan ever.
He was, yeah. He had the tattoos and everything. I think they were a gimmick band through and through, with every single song they have being about love. And to be honest, I'm here for it all the way. I love the commitment to the bit. This song isn't my favourite hymn number, but it's an easy go-to, catchy melody, hook, chorus, easy to remember and fun. The classic, again, time capsule. It's just like, I remember this. I remember him being that big band, but as I say, I remember always being just a bit reserved on like being too vocal about my love for this band, because they were kind of associated more as like a girl band, weren't they?
Yeah, I always preferred. I think I always preferred Killing Loneliness and Wings of a Butterfly as well.
Yeah.
Like, I did love them songs, and again, it was one of them that I sort of kept quiet as well.
Yeah.
When they came on Kerrang, I was like, yeah, I'm going to leave this on in the privacy of my own home. But I never went round school being like, have you heard that hymn song? It's class, isn't it? Like,
you bloody girl, are you?
Yeah, but they've got some tunes in the back catalogue, haven't they? I thought this one was. Listening to this, I'm sure, and this may have been my first listen.
No, right, because this one they're like biggest numbers, yeah.
But then I say that, but I probably did hear it back in the day. But again, my memory is so hazy. It was a band that I only listened to when they were presented to me on the telly. Thought it was all right. Again, it's decent for what it is. Very, very emo art. Like they're so emo, this band, in terms of the lyrical content.
That's it. I just
the fan base, and I'm just like,
I love the commitment to the art. Like it was such like
it was commitment.
They went all in. You know what I mean? They went. Oh, there was always bands that always flirted with it, but didn't go full. There was always like bands that were a bit strange. Like you'd have Avenged Sevenfold that were playing like this hard rock metal, but were all dressed like emos, and you're like, what? What is
Bullet for My Valentine?
That's what I mean. Like, what is your direction? And then eventually they'd always quit and be like, "Oh, we'll just do Metallica."
Yeah, Bullet for My Valentine. They had the emo aesthetic going, but they were trying to
emo title, band title.
They were trying to do like the Metallica thrashy stuff and stuff like that. But they just went, like I said, they went balls deep. They found a target audience, didn't they? And they were homing in on you.
Yeah, AC/DC. You know what I mean? You know what you're gonna get, but like I'm 100% there for the bit of him.
I do respect them, definitely. I highly respect them. And again, the music's not bad either. I can listen to this and I don't get the My Chemical Romance anxiety thing where I'm like, oh, just shut up. Because Phil Valo has got a very pleasant voice, hasn't he?
He's got his quirks and stuff, like he's my darling.
Yeah, but to me that is much more soothing to my ears than
like
baby. Yeah. So yeah, again, a decent little track. Yeah.
Yeah, Out the Attic, love him. Tom's notes on him as a time capsule in themselves, aren't they, of the time for sure. Teenage Heartbreak relates. Pretty much all they said. Then we get into Jamie. Jamie loves throwing them out there, doesn't he? With he certainly hit us with something on the worst tracks, but these are his best tracks.
Yeah.
And he's got Papa Roach's Last Resort from 2001. This song is nothing but a meme to me.
Yeah.
Like I said a few episodes back, I'm not fully sure where I truly stand with this band. This song does slap a little. Again, there's some like Maiden influences with the with the guitar and stuff that you don't really expect with a band like this. Another regular on the Kerrang channel, you'd always try and like point out the posters in the kids' bedrooms, on the music video. However, when this comes on in social gatherings and everyone starts buzzing like, "Oh, this my life in two pieces," I roll my eyes a bit and I'm like, "Oh, this joke again! Like, you've done this to death." Yeah, very funny. Cut my life into pieces. My life was blah 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 blah. Shut up. Move on.
That's the thing. Like, that's the meme part of this song, isn't it? It's that.
Yeah.
It's that. Cut my life into pieces.
No breathe. I mean, I'm doing it again now myself.
It is, isn't it?
Like, yeah.
That is what's made this song a meme. Much like the Down with the Sickness, there. Woo, ah, ah, ah.
Yeah.
That's what's made that song a meme, and this is the same with that. Like I said, I think the chorus is pretty decent, and it's got some nice guitar licks all over it. It's got potential, but it has been memeified, hasn't it? It's just been.
It has, yeah. Like, I can't. There's certainly a band I can't take seriously in any way, shape, or form. I quite like some of their like later stuff, like Scars, like "Cut my heart open, I sold myself short." When they got a bit more emo and stuff like that. What Jamie has to say on Last Resort is this was one of the first songs he learned on guitar. He wanted to learn it and he played it in his first band. He also liked the lyrics as they sounded, how he felt at the time. He was still new to new metal, so it was still like unusual for him to hear. I completely get that again, like, how we all latched onto like him and like how I latched onto a lot of emo music, that melancholy, that teen angst. It's full on there, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then his. Oh my god, I didn't even put the track of this. What's the name of this track? The last one,
Voodoo People.
Voodoo People by The Prodigy. I haven't put any notes on this. I wasn't a fan of it, to be honest.
I love it, I absolutely love this album. This song is so like. It's adrenaline to me. It's a shot of adrenaline. I wasn't, back in the day, I wasn't a Prodigy fan. I'm not going to lie. I got into the Prodigy as an adult, and to me, the first album is the best. The first album is better than Fat of the Land. It's a rave album. It's not something I would put you down to enjoy.
No, absolutely
any way, shape, or form. There's not many vocals on it, is there?
This was a band that always kind of bothered me, that they kind of like bled their way into kind of like the rock sphere
as they went on.
It always kind of agitated me so much that, like, this was a band that was always headlining Download and Sonosphere and the likes of that.
But this band were more punk than a band like Green Day.
Yeah, I would say that. I'd definitely say I think the most I ever enjoyed from them was that period of time where they had like Omens out. It's no.
Yeah, that was quite a rocky album. Yeah,
and some of the songs off that album, but like I've never been a fan of Smack My Bitch Up.
Yeah.
I've never been a fan of Firestarter. So like when Firestarter comes on, I get upset. Like I get itchy.
No,
fuck off of this fucking song.
I don't get. I know. I don't get on board with that, man.
Minor.
I'm a huge fan. I love Breathe. I do love the Fat of the Land, which has got all the hits on it that you just mentioned there. But this album to me just has something extra. It's just so dirty, so grimy.
Yeah, it was throughout this song. I was listening. So I was like, "Is this the song that goes? Is this the song that goes?" And then it did the bit.
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh yeah," and then I turned it off. I went, "Yeah, okay, that's it. I know the song." Yeah,
I listened to all 7 minutes of it. Great.
7 minutes, Jesus.
It was a great pick. Well, that's the thing with a lot of these rave tracks from this era. They had to be long. Like they were they were made for the dance floor.
Yeah, I get the edging. I get it. It's nice to edge sometimes. You don't want to goon all the time, do you? But it's like it's just get on with it. Get to the bit. It's like building up, or a little tease of it, and then it goes away, and you're like, oh, come on. I can imagine everyone in that club in IB for like just ready getting edged. They're all getting edged. They're all there.
Jaws swinging.
With the jaws swinging, glow lights and all that. And then when it hits, I can just imagine the room like exploding, erupting. But for me, it's just like I'm there like, come on, yeah, get to it. There we go. I just want to goon. Don't want to be edged.
Yeah,
I'm a gooner. Jamie's notes on this song is Voodoo People was one of the songs that got me into dance music. I was a big fan of The Prodigy when I was growing up, and I got to see them at least 3 times before Keith Flint died. First song he heard was Smack My Bitch Up on MTV after the Watershed. I do remember that music video, but this just beats it for him.
Yeah.
So yeah, again, it was never going to be a song for me, to be honest.
Yeah, that's understandable. Again, I love this song. I saw Prodigy before Keith died as well, and it was one of the loudest, most insane shows, light show and everything. It's so high energy. I'll always remember that gig and when this came on. I think the ended up blending this song with another, and sort of it ended up being like 15-minute medley type thing with this and a couple of other songs, and it kept returning to the do 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 do. It was an experience. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say. That's my review of Voodoo People by Brave.
Here we go. We've done it. Big, nice, meaty, juicy episode this week. If you're listening and it comes out on Tuesday, just know that I've done a fuck ton of editing. If not, you may have had to have waited a week for this, but either way, thanks for listening so much. Thanks for the submissions from Tom and Jamie. If you want to throw your own submissions in, please chuck them our way. You know, I'd love to do kind of like a listeners list and get other submissions again. I want to kind of keep bringing this up every now and again as a bit of an ongoing series. Good times, had by y'all.
Nice positive episode that, actually.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. But we still got to have our little snipes in, didn't we? We still got to have our little digs and like. Fuck off, Green Day.
Fuck off, Gerard Way.
Well, yeah, the last thing I'll say, I like ending these on a random little note here, and as we just mentioned, Green Day on their last tour, I kept seeing these TikTok videos. You'll probably know this song, but there's like they go away for like an intermission part, right? And the drummer comes out in a bathrobe. And there's like this song, and it's like do 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 do. It's just like playing on like a tape.
Is it all by myself?
I'm all by myself.
Yeah, it's the last.
I'm all on my own.
Do you know what that is? I think that's the hidden track off Dookie.
I've got to be honest. It creeps me. It gives me the ick something rotten because like you know, come on, like we all get old, we all age, but this is this fucking 50-odd-year-old man with the spiky green dyed hair. It's like blue or whatever, and he's got the makeup on. You can see the fair weather in his face. Yeah. He's in the bathroom and he's there with the microphone, like walking, like prancing around the stage. I was all by myself.
That's the hidden...
It's a song about having a wank in it, basically.
You know the hidden track thing, the trend from the CD era. Yeah. That was the hidden track at the end of Dookie. That
and it just it gives me so much like I think cringe has been kind of overused as a word, but genuine, like I was watching it like curling up into myself and like just wincing and be like, oh god, like stop doing. I had to look at the comments. I was like the people like, and some people are like, oh, that's so funny and all that. And other people like, this is paedophile coded. And I was like, you know what, this is paedophile coded.
I suppose the intention is for it to be cringy, you know, much like the Office, you know, stuff like that. I think it's a bit like supposed to be, oh god, like, oh. But yeah, is what it is, isn't it?
But yeah, that's all I have to say on that. Anything to say about Gerard Way to even it out, or
I don't have. I've said everything I needed to say about Gerard.
Gerard Way was really cringy back in the day.
Yeah,
like the Black Parade era, you know, where you had that short white hair and all that, and like I remember being a fan, and you'd see other fans like sharing like gifs of him doing a wacky thing on stage and stuff like that. And I was like, oh god, I like my musicians to be a bit more stoic, you know what I mean? Like a bit more like Robert Smith. He just stands there and plays his guitar, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but he does make himself look like an 80-year-old woman, though, doesn't he? I suppose there's that.
Oh yeah, you know what I mean. Like, I love him to death. Yeah. But like, you know, when you see him live and when they did that live stream the other night, which was fucking brilliant. But he comes on, and oh Robert, you know, you've had a fair dance of age, you mate. You know what I mean. Anyway, that's it. Thanks for listening. Catch you next time. Bye bye.
Goodbye.
Mama, we're all gonna die.